about the face. He's too cute.
Your pimp hand is strong.
Good day and good night. Welcome to the High and Low Retrospective, where we press rewind and play back the shows that left such a big impression that they might as well have been carved into the spine of your favorite book, whether they were short-lived cult favorites or long-running cultural touchstones. Today we're diving into Californication, Showtime's boozy, irreverent, and darkly comedic take on the life of a self-destructive genius, a show that blurred the line between tragedy and comedy, aspiration and cautionary tale, artistic pursuit, and personal implosion. By the mid-2000s, television was in the middle of an anti-hero renaissance. The Sopranos had redefined what a protagonist could be, Breaking Bad was about to set the world on fire, and Showtime, eager to establish its own prestige identity, greenlit Californication. The series was created by Tom Capinos, a screenwriter who had worked on Dawson's Creek, but was eager to step into something edgier, something that examined the pitfalls of talent and the burden of self-destruction. Californication premiered on August 13, 2007, introducing audiences to Hank Moody, a washed-up but brilliant writer played by David Duchovny. Hank was the quintessential rock star novelist, brilliant, self-loathing, and perpetually drunk or high, constantly chasing the next fleeting thrill while sabotaging any real chance at happiness. At its core, Californication followed Hank's struggle to balance his literacy legacy, his vices, his deep love for his ex, Karen, played by Natasha McElhone, I hope I'm saying that right, and their daughter, Becca, played by Madeline Martin. The show never shied away from the consequences of Hank's actions, though it often coded them in humor and irreverence. Hank's world was filled with chaotic yet endearing characters. His loyal agent and best friend Charlie Runkle, played by Evan Handler of Sex and the City fame, and Charlie's endlessly fascinating, often disastrous wife, Marcy, played by Pamela Adlon, known for her voice acting as Bobby on King of the Hill, and also she created her own critically acclaimed show, Better Things. Each season saw Hank trying and usually failing to get his life together, whether it was navigating the Hollywood machine, reconnecting with his daughter, or simply resisting the temptation of the next beautiful, destructive woman who walked into his life. At first glance, Californication seemed like just another show about a self-destructive writer spiraling through a world of excess, but beneath the whiskey-soaked nihilism and endless parade of bad decisions, there was a deeper creative lineage at play. Tom Capinos has cited literary rock stars like Charles Bukowski and Ernest Hemingway as inspirations for Hank Moody, writers who lived and often drowned in the art of indulgence, where the line between brilliance and self-sabotage was razor thin. Bukowski in particular looms large over the DNA of Californication. His work often explored the beauty and grotesqueness of LA through the lens of a man both enamored with and repulsed by its temptations. But Californication wasn't just fueled by literary rebels. It also borrowed from the Hollywood mythos surrounding real-life industry figures like Hunter S. Thompson and even a dash of Bret Easton Ellis, men whose reputations were built on excess, controversy, and sharp-tongued critiques of the worlds they inhabited. Of course, the most immediate inspiration was Hank Moody himself, or rather the archetype he represented, the brilliant but broken writer, the rogue artist with a heart of gold, the womanizing yet strangely principled anti-hero. We'd seen versions of him before in films like Wonder Boys and novels by Philip Roth and Norman Mailer, and even in TV's own lineage of tortured creatives. Mad Men's Don Draper would later embody a similar contradiction. At its core, Californication was a modern riff on the age-old question: can a man be both a genius and a train wreck without destroying everything in his path? And in the sun-drenched world of LA, where fame, fortune, and failure exist in the same breath, the answer was never simple. When Californication debuted in 2007, it was instantly polarizing. Some hailed it as a sharp, witty, and refreshingly irreverent take on modern masculinity, artistic angst, and Hollywood's hedonism. Others dismissed it as self-indulgent, juvenile, and little more than an excuse to showcase debauchery under the guise of high art. The praise? Well, David Duchovny's performance as Hank Moody was an undeniable highlight. His natural charisma, effortless wit, and ability to make even the worst decisions seem oddly endearing turned him into one of Showtime's most iconic leading men. Critics also applauded the show's whip-smart dialogue, its fearless approach to sex and relationships, and its unapologetic skewering of LA's entertainment elite. But the backlash was just as loud. Some viewers and more than a few critics found the show's portrayal of women troubling, its humor occasionally veering into outdated frat boy territory. Others felt that Californication often mistook excess for substance, relying too heavily on shock value rather than meaningful storytelling. Despite the divided opinions, the show cultivated a devoted following. It resonated with those who saw something raw and honest beneath the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Fans who connected with Hank Moody's existential crisis, his love for Karen and Becca, and his constant battle between self-destruction and redemption. After 7 seasons, Californication ended in 2014. The show had run its course. Hank's cycle of redemption and relapse could only repeat so many times before it became redundant. Showtime, too, was shifting gears, looking to invest in new dramas that could take the network in a different direction. The final season saw Hank confronting his past and finally trying, however clumsily, to be a better father and partner. Whether he succeeded or not is left to interpretation. You should watch it. Beyond the sex, the drugs, and the literary name drops, Californication was, at its heart, at its core, about the fear of irrelevance. Hank Moody wasn't just an alcoholic or a womanizer. He was a man terrified of fading away. His worst nightmare wasn't losing Karen or Becca. It was becoming someone who no longer had something to say. The fear of being past your prime, of having peaked too soon, resonates deeply in a world where relevance is currency. Hank Moody is the dark mirror of every artist, every creative mind that burns bright and then wonders if the flame is starting to dim. In an era where social media demands constant reinvention, Californication feels more prophetic than ever. The tragic irony? In his refusal to evolve, Hank Moody became a relic of the very thing he despised. Just another lost soul in a city full of them. Now, despite its indulgences, Californication left its mark. It was messy, brilliant, self-aware, and at times infuriating. But isn't that exactly what made it special? It remains one of Showtime's defining series, a wild ride through the highs and lows of creativity and self-destruction. Hank Moody may not have been a role model, but he was definitely unforgettable. So that's the High and Low Retrospective on Californication, a show that captured the self-inflicted wounds of genius, the allure of destruction, and the inescapable pull of Los Angeles. If you've never watched it, maybe it's time. If you have, maybe it's time for another ride. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. Join us again for more deep dives into the shows, the movies, the music that define generations. Until next time, stay curious, stay nostalgic, and remember,
No amount of top shelf can compete with the love of a good woman.
Top shelf.